So this lab is calculating body fat percentage, and then from that you can calculate the weight of the body fat, the lean body mass percentage, and then the weight of the lean body mass. For this, we are doing 4 different tests. We are doing 7-site skin fold, girth, BMI, and BIA. So for these, each one has different procedures, which I'll go through. So basically, to get this information, you'll perform each of the tests. So for the skin girth, we used a female subject. So for our female subject, we took the girth around her neck. It's going to be just below the larynx is where you tape it, and it's going to be perpendicular to the axis of the neck. You are also going to do an upper abdominal site, which is going to be the most narrow place between the bottom of the sternum and the belly button. And then you're going to do a hip site, which is just going to be essentially the largest width of over their glutes. So that's going to be the girth. You're also going to do the 7-site skin fold. With this, you're going to you're going to pinch the skin and pull it out as far as you can. You can wiggle it a little bit to get some of the skin and the fat loose from the muscle. And then you're going to take a, a caliper to measure the thickness of that skin that you pulled out. So there's 7 sites. Chest, for the female we used, it's going to be, on the chest, it's going to be diagonal, and it's also going to be 1/3 from the armpit, from the armpit to their nipple. There's the mid-axillary, which is going to be vertical, and then it's going to be the mid-axillary line just at the nipple level of the subject. Subperioelical, ilical. It's going to be diagonal, and it's going to be just above the ASIS. The abdominal one, you're going to do vertical, 1 inch lateral of the belly button. The thigh, it's also going to be vertical. It is just going to be, it's going to be halfway on the thigh, in between the knee and the hip. And then there's going to be the tricep, which is going to be halfway on the posterior side of the arm, halfway of that humerus. And then the subscapular is going to be diagonal, just below the scapula. And so to do that, you'll, pull it out. You'll put it in there. You want to make sure it's 90 degrees from that skin. And then you're going to go about a centimeter down from your fingers to read. You're going to do 2 measurements of that. And then if they're greater than 2 millimeter difference, then you'll remeasure that. And you'll take the average of either the 2 or the 3, depending on what you needed to do. Backtrack a little bit for the girth. Just kidding. No, backtrack. Actually, yes, backtrack. You're going to do 2 trials of the girth and take the average of that. For the BIA, that's a machine, pretty much does all the work. So your subject is going to, you're going to press 0 for PT once you get that machine going. They're going to step on when it tells them to. The front pads is where their toes are going to go, and the back pads is where their heel's going to go. There's 4 pads, 1 part of the foot per pad, and they're going to stand there with their legs straight, standing straight, knees straight, everything straight. Then they're going to grab, sorry, they're not grabbing anything yet. You're going to select their body type. Pretty much the majority of us are going to be standard unless they exercise for 10+ hours every single day. Then you'll select athlete. You'll enter their gender, you'll enter their height, and and then they're going to grab the wands and they're going to hold the wands next to their side. Their arms should not be touching their body, and also with their legs, their feet should be slightly apart and their thighs should not be touching. Their arms are going to be straight, legs straight, everything straight, and they're just going to stand there until the machine tells them they're done. At that point in time, they can put the wands back and step off the machine. That test is done. All of these tests are going to give you information. The girth and the skin fold are going to give you a density, and then from that you can find their body fat percent and calculate that. The BIA will just automatically give you a body fat percent, and then there's also the BMI. To calculate BMI, you're just going to do their weight in kilograms over their height in meters squared. Once you do that, you are given a BMI number, and with that number, you can calculate their body fat percent. So you calculate all the body fat percents, you calculate the mass of the body fat, the percent of the lean body mass, and then the weight of the lean body mass. And then from that, you can see the differences from each of the tests, and they're all about the same, but you can see that there are some minor differences. So I forgot to mention how BIA works. So when you go and you stand on this machine and you're holding the wands and you're standing on the pads, the machine is going to send electrical currents through your body that are completely painless. You probably won't even notice they're happening, but it's going to be sending electrical currents through your body. And the electrical currents are going to flow freely and easily through the lean body mass. So with the fat, it's going to block the flow of these electrical impulses through the body. So as it blocks these, it's going to detect how they're not flowing as smoothly, it's not getting all of them back, how the pulse changes. So it's going to be able to detect the differences, and from what it sends out and what the electrical current it receives back is how it determines what your body fat is. And that's how BIA works.